Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Sauce. I got some Thursday night college football to go along with the NFL game here. As of right now, the New Mexico State game is still going. Actually, I think the third quarter is about to start. That game's 7-7. I have New Mexico State -3. I actually got it at 2.5, so I have it at 2.5. I already got FIU +5. That game was wild. They won in double overtime. So I'm 1-0. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, I'm 2-0. But we'll see. But yeah, Thursday night college football. Let's get it started.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
First up, let's talk some Sun Belt football. We got James Madison on the road at Marshall. James Madison, a perfect 6-0 in the season, 4-2 against the spread. Marshall, 4-2, 2-4 against the spread. Marshall is catching 3.5 points at home here, and the total sitting at 50. Public's definitely coming in on James Madison in this one. Over 60% of the tickets, over 60% of the money in on the Dukes. I did see a couple 4s out there here and there over the last day or two, but for the most part, we're looking at 3.5 across the board. Well, I hope Marshall doesn't plan on running the ball in this one because nobody is running the ball in James Madison right now. JMU is allowing just 1.4 yards per carry on the season. That's not a typo. 1.4 yards per carry allowed. First in the FBS in yards per carry allowed, first in rushing yards per game allowed, and they're rated first in effective rush. This James Madison run defense is an absolute problem. Now, offensively, Marshall does run the ball, but luckily for them, they're pretty balanced. They've run the ball on 51.79% of their snaps this season. That's 60th in the FBS. So they, like I said, pretty middle of the road, pretty balanced offense. According to Beta Rank, Marshall is the 68th overall ranked offense, 87th in effective rush, 52nd in effective pass. Against this James Madison run defense, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Cam Fancher to make plays through the air here. Good news for Marshall would be Cam Fancher looks a lot better recently. Through 3 games, it was looking rough. Thought maybe he had a shot of seeing TJ McMahon take over a quarterback, but Fancher's playing a lot better in the last 3 games. Pass attempts per game has gone from 29.7 through the first 3 to 40 in the last 3. Passing yards per game up to about 300. Touchdown interception ratio looks a lot better as well. Cam Fancher's been pretty solid recently. And James Madison defensively, as good as they've been against the run, we've seen them get exposed through the air a few times this year. The one that jumps out at me is the Utah State game, week 4. They went on the road to Utah State. That was JMU's last road game as well. They haven't gone on the road in a month. McKay Hillstead making his first career start at quarterback. He's a freshman, only making a start because Cooper Legas got benched the week before that against Air Force. This kid threw for 400 yards on James Madison. Now, it's a little deceiving. He did drop back to pass 47 times, 4 touchdowns, but he did throw 3 interceptions. This wasn't as insane of a passing performance as it looks at first glance, but still, Utah State was able to go toe-to-toe with James Madison throwing the ball with a freshman quarterback making his first career start. I think all signs point to Cam Fancher having a good game and making some plays on the JMU secondary. On the other side of the ball, we know James Madison's looking to run. Dukes are running the ball on 54.22% of their snaps this year. That's 37th in the FBS. It's not completely one-dimensional. Jordan McLeod can throw the ball a bit, but this is an offense that works off the run. It's been kind of an up-and-down season for the James Madison run game. I mean, they're averaging just 3.8 yards per carry as a team, which is 86th in the FBS. They're up at 43rd in effective rush, though, so schedule-adjusted metrics indicate that this run game is better than the numbers have shown so far this year. But I have great news for James Madison. They play Marshall, and that is a team that has been terrible trying to stop the run this year. Marshall's allowing 6 yards per carry as a team this season, 108th in effective rush. This is one of the worst run defenses in the entire FBS. I mean, look at the last 2 games. Back-to-back road losses against Georgia Southern and NC State. They allowed 89 points combined in those 2 games and close to 900 total yards. And if you're thinking, well, Kyle, both those games were on the road. This one's back home at Marshall. Maybe the defense will play better. Want to know what happened in Marshall's last home game? Old Dominion came in and ran the ball 31 times for 339 yards. 10.9 yards per carry. This run defense is as bad as it gets. I like James Madison by a touchdown at least, so give me JMU -3.5 next game. Got an American Conference game up next. Let's talk some AAC. Got Rice on the road at Tulsa. Tulsa sitting at 3-3. They're also 3-3 against the spread. Rice sitting at 3-3 as well, 4-2 against the spread. This line's Tulsa -3. Websites are saying this line opened up at 2.5 on Sunday, but I checked all the lines Sunday night during the Giants game, and I didn't see any 2.5, so it must have been earlier in the day Sunday. I don't know. Total sitting at 57.5. Public's definitely coming in on Tulsa in this one. I actually did see a 3.5 or 2. I don't know if it's going to stay that way. I don't know if the consensus line is going to move to 3.5. But if you like Rice, I would wait it out. You probably can find a 3.5 somewhere. Public, like I said, is on Tulsa. Money's a little closer to even, so we're looking at the public on Tulsa with a little bit of sharp action in on Rice. Well, we're betting a Rice Owls game, which means the first thing we have to do is check the opponent's pass defense, because that's all Rice can do offensively. The Owls have dropped JT Daniels back to pass on 64.24% of their offensive snaps this year. That's 5th most in the FBS. This is a pass-first offense to the maximum. According to Beta Rank, Rice is 86th overall offensively, 127th in effective rush, and 29th in effective pass. So this is an insanely one-dimensional offense. So then the question we have to ask is, how is Tulsa's pass defense? Well, they're just 97th in effective pass defensively, 87th overall, 75th in effective rush. But here's the thing about Tulsa's pass defense. I think the numbers may be skewed a bit by the beginning of their schedule. In week 2 and 3, Tulsa played Michael Penix on the road in Washington and followed that up by playing Dylan Gabriel in Oklahoma. Look at their defensive numbers against the pass from their last 3 games in comparison to their first 3. Yards per game is in half from 360 to 180. Yards per attempt in half from 10.7 to 5.1. 9 touchdowns, 3 picks in the first 3. 2 touchdowns, 4 picks in the last 3. Passer rating also nearly in half the last 3 games. So Tulsa's really stepped up defensively against the pass. Now, is it because they haven't seen a quarterback? Because JT Daniels, as we know, can play. Overall, on this side of the ball, I think Tulsa will give JD Daniels some problems. On the other side of the ball, I mean, Rice is just a defense that cannot be trusted. They're 119th overall, according to Beta Rank, 103rd in effective rush, 126th in effective pass, one of the worst pass defenses in the FBS analytically. We saw Taquan Roberson go on the road to Rice and have the best game of his career. 15 of 19, 215 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, no picks, a 208 passer rating for UConn. Rice lost that game at home. Now, they probably should have won it. I mean, they outgained UConn 474 to 319. They 4 turnovers to 0. That was the story of that game. But regardless, Roberson, best game of his career throwing the ball against Rice. A couple weeks before that was the South Florida game. It was actually the last time Rice went on the road as well. Byron Brown, also best game of his career. 22 of 29, 435 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 224 passer rating. So it's safe to say that this Rice team cannot defend the pass to save their lives. But I have amazing news for the Rice defense. Tulsa doesn't throw the ball at all. Tulsa has run the ball on 62.84% of their snaps this season. That's 6th most in the FBS. They're up there with Army, Navy, Air Force, Liberty. This is a run-first program all the way. And it's not a bad run game. I mean, they're okay. They're averaging 3.9 yards per carry on the season, which isn't excellent, 76 in the FBS, but they're rated 44th in effective rush, so this isn't a run game you can sleep on. But the truth is, if Rice loads the box defensively and forces Tulsa to come out throwing the ball, I don't know if I trust Tulsa's passing offense to win this game. I mean, they don't even have a set quarterback. They mostly use Cardell Williams, who's a freshman. You want to know how many times he's dropped back to pass more than 20 times in a game? 0. He's never done it. Now, head coach Kevin Wilson is saying they're going to use a combination of Cardell Williams and Braylon Braxton, who started a few games last year. I mean, I don't trust this Tulsa passing attack at all. Not enough to lay a full 3. So I guess I'd go Rice plus 3 in this one. With JT Daniels, I have the better quarterback, but to be honest, I think my favorite bet here would be the under at 58.5. Public's all over Tulsa, so if I had to pick a side, I'd take Rice plus 3, but just give me under 58.5. Don't see a ton of value in this one.